Hello, everybody. So I have my good longtime client, colleague, and friend, David Deal.
Hi.
Some of you might recognize him. He worked at True Wellness ages ago. But Dave is back in our center here in Pennsylvania for a little trip. He lives in Asheville, North Carolina now. We saw him a couple months ago down in South Carolina with a biological dentist. And when he first came in for the session here, we hadn't done a heart rate variability in 5 years, probably
Longer.
Probably longer.
Like
so the first time Dave came in was about 11 years ago, I think is what we figured out, or 12 years ago.
Yep.
And when we did his HRV, I almost cried because it looked so incredibly different than his first one from 11, 12 years ago. So I wanted him to tell his story a little bit. And Dave, for those who know you, is very long-winded. So I'm here to make sure we don't go too long-winded. But I really appreciate that you're giving your time today to share this with people, because so Dave came in with a diagnosis of
Wolff Parkinson White syndrome, WPW. It's a heart condition.
Speak louder.
It's a heart condition where the central electrical system of the heart gets bypassed and the heart rate gets recycled and taken into elevated rates of anywhere from 160 beats per minute to 220 beats per minute. And then from there, the possibilities of tachycardia or instant cardiac death are a thing.
Greatly increased with that diagnosis. And so when we met him, did you have silver fillings?
I had one silver filling, but my mother
had
20 in her mouth when she passed.
Yeah. And his mom passed about 3 to 4 years after we met him, dealing with a very devastating cancer. And she had a very high toxic load. And that translated, you're the middle child?
Second born, yeah.
Yeah, he's the middle of 3. So there was plenty of time. There's 3 years between you and your older brother?
So actually like a year and a half.
Oh, less than that. Okay. So there wasn't a lot of time to build up toxicity.
She actually had 5 fillings put in her mouth when I was in the womb.
Oh.
And she didn't know about it.
Okay.
She didn't know that she was pregnant when she had them put in. I remember when we did the first hair mineral analysis, you guys told me I was like off the charts with mercury.
Yeah.
So that was one of the main things that we were chasing and trying to find for a long time was, why was I having these heart conditions? I went in 2006.
An electrical problem with the heart, right? It was an electrical problem with the heart.
Mm-hmm. And I had a radio frequency ablation in 2006, and they took out the extra conductors, and then everything grew back on its own because my body had become dependent on it, and we weren't clearing out the metals and the other toxic load in my system so that my heart could actually regulate it and heal itself.
And you had seen a different practitioner than us when you first came to the center, right? You were seeing somebody else that did muscle testing, I think, if I remember right.
For about 18 months prior to coming here, I was working with someone else that had just been like keeping me on standard process supplements and kept diagnosing me with parasites. And the parasite formulas that she had me on were actually like making it
symptomatic.
They were making it more symptomatic. So I remember when I first came here, you guys took me off everything and just went to the root of the problem, which is what I was looking for. So it was, and
then we started doing lymphatic work.
Yeah.
You did IVs, I remember, right? And tons of neural therapy with the medical doctors.
Yep.
We did a lot of therapy with David. He was at our center probably 2 to 3 times a week.
At least, yeah.
For a few years, and to the point where he had to actually become a massage therapist and get a job with us. And really this, I would say that this journey in your life, you were, if I can share, you were a little lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
On an emotional level. When you found us, I should say. When you found me. Yes, when we found you, when you found us. And for those that know Jessica, David's actually the reason that Jessica ever came to our office and worked, because he referred her to our office and said, maybe you should go work there. I saw that they were looking for a job. They were looking for somebody for the front desk. So thanks for that. But through all those therapies, was it an easy journey?
No.
Explain that quickly if you can, like the ups and downs. Your mom died in the midst of it. You moved, your sister had issues. there was a lot going on externally. You had a dog that passed in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's been a lot of shifts.
Yeah, it was really huge transformation for me altogether. And it makes so much sense now, being that it was like all stemming from the heart. So it's been this office, working here and learning everything that I did, helped clear the way for me to actually like really be living a fully happy, joyful, like excitable, awesome life now.
He says in such a monotone way. It's a very
It's really
exciting, joyful life. It is a really good life. He's got a really good life. He's surrounded with people that love him and that he loves, and he's got good business partners. And I've seen him more in the last year than I've seen him in 5 years, because he's able to travel. He's created freedom in his life. He's more balanced on an emotional level than I've ever seen him.
That's why I'm so monotone.
Oh. So, and now we do your HRV. What it looked like?
It looked like it was, I mean, better than it's ever looked, and beyond what I actually thought it could be.
And he was very stressed when he did it, because he had to fly here the night before. There was all these issues. The flight got canceled, blah, 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 blah. He was traveling with a couple of people. One of them was a child. You can imagine how that went. And so he's like, oh, I can't wait to see what this HRV is going to look like. I'm totally stressed. And I looked at the HRV and I was like, honest to God, Dave, outside of mine and Ian's HRVs, you're probably the best HRV in the office. And that is not the case 12 years ago.
No.
We were scared to death he was going to die on us, because he had these excessively high heart rates, 180 beats per minute, 200, and then his blood pressure would drop. Do you remember? And then he had all these nervous tics in your eyes and in your face, and just anxiety, like constant. And as rightfully so, like if you're feeling like your heart's beating out of your chest, of course you're going to feel anxiety, let alone the mental loads and the emotional stuff that was causing a lot of that. So you've done a lot of deep work. And I am grateful that you're giving us some of the kudos, but I have to say that you have done the work. You have been the compliant client. You are the one that took the messages we gave and expanded them and made that a part of your life.
Well, what the best thing I think that happened for me was I realized that my body wanted me to listen to it, and I wasn't connected with it because I had used it to, be a builder for 20 years and to try and accomplish the things that I was accomplishing, and I was disconnected from my body. So throughout the process of doing this work, I learned how to slow down, and I learned how to listen to my body, I learned how to meditate, and learned a whole lot of things that I needed to learn that essentially put me back in my body and connected me back with myself. And I think with the world that we live in, it's like we're kind of taught the opposite. So that for me, like learning that just helped me to continue to progress in life to where I'm at now. And like, not to like pat myself on the back or anything, but like I'll be 40 in June, and I just bought 80 acres and I'm starting a wellness / kind of retreat center, so people can come and be able to actually like relax and
experience life. And what I would like to say through that is a great message, that the journey to get there, I mean, we almost had fight battles, like fist fights between us, honest to God, over the phone, different times, different situations. It hasn't been comfortable for him. There's been a lot of truth telling. There's been a lot of like, no, Dave, you're a little lost over there too. And receptive though. He's been very receptive to it, very engaged in it, refers a ton of clients, which we always appreciate. But I want to thank you for doing the work and continuing to show up and continuing to be engaged, because that's why you've gotten results. And I want you to put that HRV on your mirror and look at it every day and go, look at what I did, because the body regenerated. And when was the last time you felt your heartbeat?
That's been like any kind of high heart rate, even actually in like exercising or biking or
hot saunas and all the things, the cold plunges and all the different things you do.
Like it doesn't affect me at all now. The condition,
and it was singing to you for years. pay attention to your heart, pay attention to your heart. Now that he's connected to his heart, it doesn't have to yell at him anymore.
True. Yeah, the condition that I had actually went away on its own when the cardiologist and the physiologist told me that I had to have the radio frequency ablation surgery again. And I chose not to because I was, through coming here and learning things, I was starting to be able to listen to my body. And I think within, it's like 2.5 or 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, I'd say.
The condition actually went away on its own because we got rid of the toxic load. So,
and that's the beauty of the body.
Yep.
So,
but yeah, it wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't easy, but I wouldn't change a bit of it because I got to learn everything that I learned along the way, and really, like, I literally couldn't be happier now. I'm not just saying that, but like, life is beautiful and really good. So, and I mean, it's still like a constant ongoing, like,
he just had a bunch of dental work done because he was
maintenance
ignoring that for some time.
yeah.
And then I was like, you can't ignore it anymore. So he started working with Porcelli to get that handled.
Yeah. And that's what actually brought me back, is like, I'm not gonna have dental work done and not make sure that my lymph is moving and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been really good, and really good to be back here and see you guys. And
thank you for spending time with everybody. And I'm sure a lot of you really were paying attention and have understand that that's a lot of what you've been going through. Maybe not the exact diagnosis, but been to a lot of practitioners, tried a lot of different things, keep things at bay a little bit, but then really got into it. And it was really getting into it. And it was ugly and it was gross, but there was beauty all of the way. And now it's all beauty.
Yeah. I mean, I used to literally, like, I almost wore diapers for like a year because my body just wanted to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, this is extremely unpleasant. In my situation though, I was like, well, I don't really want to die. So I'm going to do this thing that feels intuitively the right thing to do and see it all the way through. And yeah, it definitely wasn't easy, but like, I'm 40 years old and I'm stronger than I've ever been. I feel better than
in
I've
every
ever
way,
felt.
not just physically,
Yeah.
and emotionally, spiritually, he's stronger than he's ever been.
Yeah. So it's really good.
It's awesome.
I'm really thankful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day. Yesterday we talked a little bit. I asked him to come and say something else, because what I realized was we talked all about all the physical body work that we did to help you get there. So first you had to restore. When you came in, we had to restore.
Yep.
And then you maintained for quite a long time. And then I would say the last 3 to 5 years, 5 to 6 years, maybe even, you've optimized, you've enhanced.
Yeah.
Yet you still come back to true wellness after 12 years. And I was thinking about our testimony yesterday, thinking people are going, what the heck? Why does he still come back? If he's better, why is he here? So why are you here?
The ongoing lymph and emotional work. I mean, I just did a foot bath actually and was like chuckling because of how much foam was in it from lymph.
Right.
It's like, I'm always trying to do things to get my lymph to move. Like, whether it's like skin brushing or anything, and like, you guys are set up to have like the quickest, easiest open lymph, keep things moving. And if I don't do that, then I get stagnant in the emotional stuff too. It's like, keeps everything moving. So,
and that's the thing. I appreciate you saying that. I was hopeful that it was his answer was lymph and emotional work, because lymph, if we accumulate life, both physical and emotional, and lymph is about letting go. So we want to make sure our accumulation, no matter how good we live, and we've talked about that, like, he lives an organic life, but he's surrounded by farms that are all spraying. Like, Silas and I were driving our car home yesterday, and they were just spraying manure, but still the windows were down. It happened too fast. And I was like, man, we both just got Roundup.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no escaping it.
Glyphosate for you.
Glyphosate is everywhere. And so even with the accumulation, even with lacking the accumulation in his lifestyle, just going outside and breathing, we get accumulated. And between that and the emotional life stuff, that can accumulate. So if we let that go, it allows us to continue to enhance and optimize.
Yeah, totally. I think the other really important thing to think about that I'm thinking about lately too is like, some of us know certain things, some of us don't know certain things, some of us are just kind of like in between, whatever. but like with everything in the atmosphere right now, especially, and everything that's happening, like it's more important than ever to make sure that like we're doing the emotional work to keep our heads clear so that we can think clear instead of reacting to things. And like for me, the lymph is the first piece of that.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not going to come in and do a bunch of emotional work, even though I know it's going to help me, but unless I know my lymph is moving. Because if my lymph isn't moving, then that stuff's just going to get like stopped up or stuck somewhere else.
Yep.
So
He's
that's the way
learned
I
so
look at it.
much. It's awesome. All right. Well, I'm sure that helped a lot of people because I wanted them to know. I felt that question
Yeah.
come in after that. So
Yeah.
thank you for the extra time. Go do your today's flow present.
Oh boy.